Hey, what's up, fellow apocalyptic survivors, and welcome to Nerdy Bunch Weekly Review for Apple TV series Silo. My name's Dave, and joining me because he left so quickly last time, so he has the bends, is my co-host, Andrew. What's up, Andrew?
The ears are ringing.
Yeah, I told you not
What's
to
up,
leave so
David?
quickly. I told you not to leave so quickly. You need that Nerdy Bunch podcast fix.
I got to go back.
You gotta go back. And in this case, there's some behind the scenes fun stuff here. Is that this is not just a joke I'm making. This is literally our second podcast we are recording today. We finished the last one like 20 minutes ago.
All for you guys.
All for you. I won't even say what podcast it was, so you can figure it out by how things get posted. Doesn't necessarily mean the one I recorded before gets posted first.
No,
doesn't look like that. Look at what we're wearing. Look at the background, so you can suss it out. The clues.
Probably could actually if you piece it together. If you're watching us like religiously, we need to start doing that. You know that whole listen to the end for special code, and then at the end of a season, it's like whoever can give us a special code gets a hug.
There you hear it. And Andrew has promised a special hug that can be won with a code. Look out for that.
Wherever you are in the world.
At some point in 2025. One episode it will happen. I'm going to tell you which episode. At some episode that we record in 2025. So stay tuned for that.
Also, wait. Something weird. Nope. This is always on the other ear.
Wait. Were you wearing your headphones backwards?
Maybe.
he says for the listeners who aren't watching.
Exactly. I told you the bands, man.
Andrew definitely has the bands. We're here to talk Silo episode 8. And
2 to go.
Andrew, 2 to go. Episode 8. Last episode with Juliet. It ended up with Juliet not being able to breathe underwater. She comes up. Solo's not there. Back at the silo, they're on a mission. Different people on different missions. Lucas is on his mission. Bernard's on his mission. The mechanical peeps are on their mission. And it feels like everything's boiling up. Boiling. It hasn't quite exploded yet.
No.
But you can feel the tension. You know when someone's like, I feel a storm coming.
Yeah.
What did you feel about this episode, spoiler free?
This one was a little bit of a slower pace to last week. So maybe than a lot of the episodes. Because I feel like every episode is kind of building on itself. And it's still a good episode. Still enjoy the things mentioned. I feel like we got a little bit more chatter. But not chatter about anything revolutionary or anything being anything pushing the story forward too much. But I still think it was a solid episode, just in kind of laying some more like groundwork as to the foundation and the history of the silo. Again, all in all, good episode. May goes down as one of the more tame episodes of the season, even for me. I think I saw that online, but that's not to discredit the episode or the fact that
just how good the show is.
Yeah, it's just a good show, but you could definitely feel like this was almost like all right, catch your breath, guys, or like in a play when they're like, all right, intermission and the final act coming up. It almost felt like that a little bit, where it's like just breathe, make sure you remember this guy. Okay, good. Remember this guy? You remember this guy? Okay, good. We're all good. All right, great.
Essentially, you could say it's slowing things down so we don't get the bends.
That's one way to put it. I feel like next episode we'll realize you can't avoid the bends other than just going back in. So good episode. Not the most exciting of the season, but still a few things just to get us teed up for the end, and maybe that's part of what they wanted. Like I'm literally like rocking my chair, like come on, where is this going? And the reveal at the end was definitely still a little bit of a shock, because I was expecting one thing, and I got multiple things.
You got 3 things?
Yeah, there were 3 specific things actually that shocked me in that order. So so good episid and good show still.
I enjoyed it for what it is, and I think you're right in terms of how it slows things down. I still think if I was to critique this show, and when I say critique, this is taking something that's like A* to A- type levels of critique, and I would say sometimes it does suffer from pacing issues. I don't think characters get, and I'm not saying it's easy, because you are dealing with many characters it's an ensemble cast. But I do think there's sometimes it feels this disparity between how much time certain characters
Characters
get.
get. Yeah.
So then because it's kind of it's very sparing with how it does some stories. I feel like some stories that happen across 3 episodes might have happened
Mm.
in 1.
Yeah.
Right? Because get
Or
these
two.
tidbits. I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, come on, move faster." Like, I
Yeah.
get
Come
it.
on.
A
Yeah.
and maybe they're trying to set up where all these narratives come to a head at the end, so the timing hits perfectly, right?
Yeah.
Everything has to sync in well, because
Yeah.
ultimately, I feel like some of the events that happen in the silo happen over a longer period of days than what happens with Juliet and
Yeah.
Solo. It doesn't
So
feel like
yeah.
it's moving at the same pace. It feels like
No,
Juliet's moving
they're
so
not.
much slower,
Yeah.
right? And it's slowing her story down so that it makes sure it doesn't finish sooner than
Too soon.
the
Yeah.
main silo
For
story.
sure.
And I feel like I can feel that. It's not problematic where I hate it, but I'm aware of it, right?
Mhm.
Because we get even though it's not a spoiler, we're still non-spoilers, but even the Juliet storyline ends up a cliffhanger last week. But this episode almost is the same cliffhanger.
Kind of, right? Or like,
Right.
or it could have, they could have been the same cliffhanger with
Last week.
similar effect. Even though
Right.
I see why this one is separate, but yeah, it's
Mm,
same point. It's just like it's not the same pacing as the other silo, and it
right.
feels intentional, like you're
Yes,
intentionally
yes.
being slowed down.
Mhm,
Like it's like literally like stop and smell the roses, guys, because
mhm,
it's like after this, I'm expecting the next two are gonna be high gear.
mhm, mhm. I'm also a fan of when we learn about revisionist history,
Mhm.
and, this episode gives us some of that, where it's like, "Well, you
Mhm.
thought you knew, but this is actually what
Yeah, no,
happened."
mhm.
But even that, when you find out what happened, it's like, "Yeah, but is that all the
Yeah,
story of what
yeah,
happened?"
exactly. It's like, okay, and
So
like,
I did
mhm.
appreciate that. I like this story when it has characters and well, us through characters kind of digging deep,
Yeah.
digging like what this. Oh, well, what's this thread? Ooh, what is this thread? Ooh,
Mhm,
what is this thread?
mhm.
And I like following that along. I
Yeah.
like following them follow the thread. I think they do a good job of that. All right, let's get into spoilers. I think we should start with Juliet's story because at the end of the day, even that ended the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
That narrative was very minimal in this episode.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be a big. I thought this episode would have that focus be a big part of the episode,
Same.
but it's not really because we don't get much beyond that. She gets up, she sees Solo's not there, she looks for whoever's there, hears the noises, gets the bends, goes back down, comes back up, gets shot, sees the, like that's what happens.
Yeah.
But we had the confirmation that there were other people there. Your very first
Dum dum dum.
instincts were right from
Give it.
episode one, Andrew,
Smell
that
it.
someone cut the rope. But here's my
Smell it.
question. Here's my few questions. A couple of questions. Answer in any order you want. Question one. I'm going to ask all the questions first, and you just give me your answers all together.
Mhm.
The first question is: these kids are young enough that I feel like, depending on how long Solo has been out of his silo, they may not have been from this silo. They could have been from the
Yeah.
outside world. So, are they
Mhm.
from the silo or are they from the outside world?
Mhm.
Also, why are they just threatening Juliet and not actually killing her, giving her chance upon chance upon chance?
Yeah.
And finally, did they kill Solo? Or do they have any kind of connection to Solo? Like, is there a backstory, some kind of connection to Solo? What are your
Mhm.
thoughts of these youngins that we meet?
I was also doing like the age correlation.
Mhm,
They said they almost 100% can't be from that silo, right?
mhm.
Or with high probability they're not from that silo. And they're almost giving like what was that show? It was the 100.
The
Like
100. I was
all
thinking
these,
that.
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I don't like. I saw them. I thought the 100 immediately. They just feel like
Yep.
some kids who appeared or were sent
CW
here,
show.
right? And yeah, somehow they've been venturing. I could see them have been venturing through different silos. They don't feel they're not necessarily evil like some characters in Creature Commandos, another show that we reviewed that we mentioned when we see the backstories. They feel like they're survivors who are just surviving, and once you're in a surviving clique, it's like you're not really looking for new people to add to that clique. It's more just like you stay away, right? I'm not. They're not killers. They're not just see you trying to kill you. It's like stay away from here. Oh, if you come closer, I will kill you, right? But so like even the killing Solo thing, I am going to go out on a limb and say he's not dead,
There's no way you kill a character like that off screen. That's stupid. I don't get that.
right? It would
There's,
just be unnecessary and
he's
a
too good of a
waste.
character. It's a waste.
Yeah, waste of acting and waste of his salary. whatever you paid him. So Solo is definitely something, and even I feel like they should be smart enough to understand that Solo knows a lot about that silo. This is me assuming they're not from there, so he's the kind of person you tie up and you get information out of. Worst case, even if you still plan to kill him, it would almost be a waste to just kill him automatically, right? He knows, as we've seen with Juliet. Excuse me, he knows where everything is in that silo.
I mean, he also, if the door's closed, he has the code to the vault, right?
So
They
like,
don't necessarily have access
why
to
would
that vault.
you? Why would it just doesn't feel like you would kill that kind of person? It's not the
Well,
smartest thing.
well, my question in that regard is more so because again, we don't know much about Solo before the silo.
Yes.
Do you think they could have had run-ins with Solo before, so that's why they're Juliet? They're like, "Oh, you're with him, so you must be something wrong with
Yeah.
you." Right?
Yeah.
They're attacking her because of proxy of Solo.
Yeah.
Like, do you think like they just met Solo now, or they've had run-ins with Solo prior?
That's an interesting one because again, especially because though Solo says he's from there. I mean, we don't know if he
And we know he's
really
lying about
is.
something.
Yeah, or a few things even. Lying about his name, lying about being the
I
shadow.
am the shadow.
It's like also, I love that she had I think that was last episode though, where she reverse shouted at him. By the way, she got her shout back. You're not the shadow.
Yeah, right.
And he's
Because
like,
I find those kids interesting, right? Because again, I think there's more to it than them just being scavengers who happen to come into it.
yeah,
Because then you don't just throw that in there a couple episodes for the end. It
yeah,
has to be, and especially again, if we assume that whoever cut the ropes in episode 1 is one of those kids, that means those kids interacted with Juliet before Juliet met Solo.
that's what stressed me though. I was like, wait, are they the ones that cut the rope?
Yeah, so I was like, if it's them, if it is them.
That's what stressed me. I'm like, what if it's
Yeah.
someone else? Like, oh my gosh.
But again, it means that they've been around this whole time. But again, I
Uh,
feel like I agree with you. I don't think they're nefarious. I think it's more they're doing warning because they hit with a warning shot. It's not
yeah,
like
yeah,
allowed to kill. It's warning, warning, and multiple warnings. Again, I feel like the cutting the rope was some sort of warning
yeah.
indirectly. There could have been many. If it's them who did it, I feel like there could have been many opportunities for them to outright kill,
Yeah,
and they
they
didn't.
could definitely, especially if they have arrows, they could have pulled up and shot both of them
Right.
quite
Sniper
easily.
style. Didn't
Yeah,
even know who killed you.
like so top of the staircase, just snipe you. Because again,
Mhm,
from that shot, you can tell that the shooter has good aim, right? So,
mhm.
who knows? Maybe they only have 5 arrows. I doubt it, but it just feels like there's a good chance that they run into Solo before, and or they are aware of him and not interested in he or anyone else. Maybe somebody who escaped from their clan and stole stuff and came to hide out in the silo. It could be something like that.
I think that was a very risky plan for one of the I think one of the guys that pretend to be a
What,
dead
lying
body.
on the floor? So
Yeah. It was a
it
very
it ki
risky plan.
it kind of threw me I mean, I guess shout out to him because I wasn't expecting it before the fact. I even thought it might be like another dead body. I didn't think it was gonna be
Mhm,
Solo.
mhm.
I thought it was gonna be just another corpse,
Yeah,
or like a
same.
skeleton.
Mm.
And then and even when they're fighting, I was like, why are you fighting so weak? And then when she took off the mask, like, oh, okay, you're a kid. That kind of makes sense because the fighting was terrible. I was like, what are you what are you doing, man? Like, I was expecting that person to just whoop Juliet, but it made sense in hindsight because I was of the three, that person looked like the youngest
Mhm.
from what we could
Yes.
garner,
Yes.
for sure. So that kind of made sense. But then so even I was even like, wow, you guys are mean. You're using the youngest as bait.
Right. Like, how'd you know someone didn't come and just like, let me just stab it to see if
Yeah,
it's alive.
like
All right.
like I mentioned in another thing review, like I said, Creature Commando, Zombieland, double tap, because that was
Yep.
me. When I see a dead body in this situation, I mean, I might kick it first, just
I'm making sure.
like a good old kick to the ribs, just to be
Right.
sure.
Or at least like I love that scene where she kind of like hesitant, but
Hmm.
ends up grabbing the axe.
Yeah,
I'm using that axe.
yeah,
Like, are you dead?
like
Making sure.
like just to be sure, it's a quick hack up the side.
What I appreciate about this show, two things I appreciate, right? One, it doesn't think the audience is stupid because I feel like
Mm-hmm.
another show, maybe even a CW show,
Mm-hmm.
would have the moment where she gets the bends, would have had a flashback to Solo saying, "Make sure you come up so you don't get the bends,"
Yeah,
or she talks to herself, Solo talks. Like some kind
yeah,
of reminder to the audience.
yeah.
But this understands that we get it. It doesn't have to be her actions are being sick. We understand
Mm-hmm.
what's happening. You don't have to get reminded of what was said to us. So I appreciate that. And which leads me to my second point that I appreciate. Another show again would have taken a character like Juliet. By the time we're at this point of season 2, she'd be a superhero. Right,
Yeah,
like
right.
she'd be
For
badass
sure.
with the axe.
Yeah,
She would have been shot by the arrow, snaps it off,
yeah,
bites it with her teeth, something.
yeah.
Like she would have been a full-on warrior at this
No,
point.
she's still so fragile.
She's normal,
Good time.
right? She
Yeah,
reacts as anyone would when an arrow is shot at you.
yeah,
Right? She's not
Mm,
suddenly like through her circumstances she's become this warrior,
yeah.
kind of thing. And I appreciate that in this story. Um, let's talk about the residents of the main silo. We'll start with our favorite, who's annoyed us, Walker. I say I understand it because I understand blah blah blah. People do things for love, blah 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 blah, and guilt, and she's feeling guilty of the last 25 years she's
Hypocrite.
wasted, and blah blah blah. But that's the part that gets me. You are a hypocrite because you can talk all this stuff to everyone else when they're going through, but as soon as you go through something, you just cave in right away. Like you put it on a plate for Bernard. He didn't have to
That,
work for this.
he didn't even like press her arm for 2 minutes. It was just more like,
No,
I need you to tell me everything, or you say, okay, okay, I'll tell you, come down. Like he's like, oh, okay.
but if you look at the circumstances of how he kind of ends up um what's it called, blackmailing her,
Mhm.
you have to think of the context of all of this. In order to blackmail her, he needs to have a conversation with her. In order to even
Mm,
think about that, he needs to kind of know what she's about. She
yeah,
gives him all of this. He didn't have to work. He didn't even know. It's like, oh shit, I didn't even know you were
yeah,
in love with this woman.
yeah,
Bet I'm gonna use that against you.
yeah,
Oh shit, you called out to me to make a meeting. Bet
yeah.
now we have FaceTime. I can
After
now.
Shirley begged you, I mean, like Shirley literally begged you not to go. Like,
Like
it was
that's
a
my
trap.
thing. It's like because if Bernard wasn't able to get FaceTime with her,
Hmm.
he wouldn't have been able to blackmail her because
I
of
don't
like
think so.
how did he have to be in the same room together to have this
Hmm.
discussion? She's the one that orchestrates it. She's the one that sets everything up. But the camera, you can't be mad when he tells you to put the cameras back on when you let him know that you still have the camera that works. You could
Oh
have
yeah,
destroyed it. For all he knew,
yeah,
you destroyed it.
exactly.
How did you feel about Walker's situation? Situation. Even though now she's like, what did I? What situation am I in? I'm like, yeah, you're in the situation that you put yourself in. I'm sorry.
It's it's so. I mean, my only pseudo redeeming quality for her in the future is what we attempted to guess last week is it's only if she can only somehow use this to their benefits.
Hmm.
Is kind of the only way to save herself. But I feel like one, Shirley and the gang are. I think they're gonna find out. It it it. I would say it was her, but that it was her. Again, I'm doing a David left field guess because when Shirley was like, "Oh, how was the fix?" and she was like, "Oh, no, something burnt out capacitor."
Uh,
She said burnt out
uh,
capacitor or something, right? I somehow wanted to be that they found I don't know they find out, so maybe Shirley's like, yeah, it was just a capacitor, and someone else is like, capacitor, no, it wasn't. I
that
mean,
was a, we
all
have
the
made
capacitors are
capacitors in
still there.
20
Yeah,
years.
the capacitors, what? Him using capacitor. I'm almost expecting something like that, and then lead Shirley to believe. And then so another thing that would be cool that I kind of would love to see is if they somehow use Walker against Bernard, unbeknownst to
Mm,
Walker. I feel like
mhm.
that's
Oh,
that would be
like they
mean to
set her
Walker,
up.
but yeah, like that would be mean but fun a little bit. Where it's like, oh, we found out. Oh, we knew. Because Shirley could tell, like she was being. I don't think Shirley figured it out just yet. But
It's
when
just
she came to
something's
talk to
off.
her, she was just like, I mean, you're
Why are you
usually a
acting
sour
weird?
puss, but like, and especially with someone like Walker, because she always acts like one way, like
Mhm.
not weird, but she's always like a straight shooter type of person. So it's just very much like, okay. I mean, I guess I get it, but
Mhm. Mhm.
watching you, lady, you weird
I
old
feel
lady.
like for me, I get again, maybe it's by design, but I feel like it bothers me even more because not that long ago, we saw a character who was blackmailed and they did the blackmailing, but they also did the good thing and warned everyone
Yep,
with
yep,
Maeve.
yep.
She's like, hey,
Uh,
what's up? Just letting you guys
yeah,
know. She didn't warn
yes.
directly, but indirectly she won. And I was hoping like Walker's going to do something similar. And I feel like Walker right now doesn't have a plan. I think Walker is kind of the narrative they're trying to tell us, like Walker, because Walker's in love, Walker's gotten herself in over her head, and now she's realizing now, like,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
um, but
That was a
but
Bernard smile. It's like, yeah,
yeah, right.
slick me out. It's like, I got it.
But I just hope at some point she does kind of figure out a way without necessarily being. I hope it's not like I'm going to help everyone by making the ultimate sacrifice. And that's how I kind of redeem
I
myself.
feel it,
I
it
hope,
might be though.
all right, where she kind of
Uh,
gets herself killed to save everyone
yeah,
because she was just, like, realizing that it's her fault that all those people got caught. They had a good plan. They had a solid plan.
it was a fantastic plan. It was actually very painful because it's like again, no offense. I like you say, I know it's easy to say from the outside, but it's like the will of the many versus the will of the one, right? Like
Mhm,
you just condemned about like what 20, 30 people to death for a lady that, no offense, they already have in custody.
mhm.
Like
But that's
you
my
didn't
thing.
have to, know.
It's beyond the whole needs of the many versus the needs of the few, right? Because then that
Mm.
becomes the ethical conversation of like, oh, do you save this one person to save all these other people? These other people die because it's one person, blah blah blah. What bothers me is that that's not the issue because at the end of the day, you are dealing with Bernard, and
You know he's a
like
fake.
you know that this man's not gonna keep his word. Like it's not gonna end up being, no matter how it turns out, it's not gonna turn out positive for you. There's no
Yeah.
such situation
Even
where
his
this is like,
wording, because he said at the end that you'll be reunited with your lover. I was like,
yeah.
That's words for kill you both." I've heard that
I
before.
mean,
Because I mean, first of all, I'm assuming Carla's alive. I mean, she probably
yeah.
is, but I didn't see that body move. That's what I'm saying. So I'm sure Carla was knocked out, right? Bernard could very easily have just shown her a corpse of Carla.
Or
Um,
Bernard could be like, "You be reunited
mm.
together because you both said you want to clean outside. Oh, there you go. Both you got and clean.
He's
Things like
like,
that.
"Oh, what's that? Oh, a double cleaning? Oh."
Let's do a celebration."
So,
It always
yeah.
reminds me of a character from another show we just reviewed. Where you make a deal with people who clearly don't have your best interest in mind, and then you get shocked when they
Yeah.
turn around and bite you. Like that's for me. It's not even about the choice of saving one, because I understand the side of, okay, because of love, she wants to
Yeah.
save the person she loves. I get
She
that.
feels bad for 25
It's
years
just
ago or
that
whatever.
there is no, and especially for someone like Walker who does kind of think about these things through, who's told the others when they try to act rash, hey guys, be smart about this. I know what you
Yeah.
want. We want the same thing, but let's think about it. The fact that she doesn't go by her own rule book is what bothers me the most.
So these are the worst characters,
Knowing how
honestly.
bad
It's
Bernard
like,
can be.
yeah,
Right.
like you made others do something, and then when it was your turn, you healed under the pressure like
Right.
immediately, like
Right.
straight up,
Immediately.
like come on,
Like
lady.
there was no pressure. It's almost like instantly. Usually in movies when they torture people for information, they're like
Mm.
pressing into the wound and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah,
This is like he just lifted his thumb up. She's like, "Oh no, here's everything."
yeah, like
Right?
like
Nope.
immediately.
What do you
So
want?
so so terrible. I just I-
And I just
no
hope
comment, Walker.
I hope by the end of this season, I like her again, because this is a character. 'Cause I think this is a quick way for me to be like, "Ugh, I hate you as a character." And I do want character wise, not necessarily the actor or anything like that. It's
No,
just
no, no, just yeah.
I just, and I understand bringing tension and I understand doing stuff. I just think if you're gonna have her betray it, it should have been done in a way where we as the audience are like, damn, she's been put between a rock and a hard place, and there's
Hmm.
nothing she could have done about that. Whereas
Yeah,
the only reason she's between a rock and a hard place right now is because she was like, hey, rock, here, hard place, here, I'll stand between
yeah,
you two.
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Um,
Sad.
Another character that I find is interesting, and I thought I kind of knew my feelings on him, but I'm not quite sure now. Lucas.
Lucas.
Yes, Lucas is a character, he's going down that rabbit hole of finding out about Quinn, and finds out that Quinn isn't necessarily this bad person, at least from Bernard's point of view. Quinn was not this bad person. A lot of things we know right now about the silo were created by Quinn, right? In terms of, he realized that we need to create some kind of um, situation where people don't remember the past. And so, Andrew, it's a fact that they did have memory erasing water,
Yep, yep.
and people are forgetting, everyone, including Bernard himself, because they want to curb the idea of people kind of building up a resistance. We still don't fully know why. We just know that it did lead to an unprecedented length of peace because
Yeah,
of it.
140
Um,
years.
I did like Lucas, kind of how he approaches Quinn's family in terms of like trying to be aggressive. His big boy
It's
pants.
funny.
I have the
It
blue
was like
card.
good acting though, because it was like what's the phrase? Like it was like trepid fear almost, right? Like it was like, "Ah, look at my blue card." Like I
My
like that
blue
he didn't
card.
just come out like all shaking. You could tell that he was the queen, the father-in-law. whatever his name is. Like he called him out as well. Right? He act like a tough guy when it's clear you're
Right.
not.
Right.
Yo,
Right.
punk.
Real tough guys stay quiet.
Mm-hmm. Like, and I
Is it?
mean, which show I love that just because of when Sims was talking to the judicial guy, and he's like,
Mhm.
"Tell me everything," and he was like, "I didn't tell you shit, bro." It's like,
It's like you.
would you tell you?
I love that part. I love that part. It's like you had this position. Would you have said
Would you
anything?
have told him?
Hmm?
And that
Hmm?
was deep because he's like,
Hmm?
as he
Hmm?
walked away.
Hmm?
Actually, yeah, that guy grew on me this episode. Even the way he like told him and then was like, oh, don't come back at it for nothing.
No,
That
no,
was a free,
no.
that was a freebie.
Tell your wife not to come
Yeah,
back. Also for
yeah.
nothing.
Oh, just
You sent
another
your
thread
wife.
because Sims is like not her again. We just agreed, lady. We just agreed to tell each other everything. I hope it's just because they're married that I don't think Sims is also gonna kill his wife. But like she's slowly like getting on that edge of like, ma'am, I'm gonna lock you. I'm gonna lock you in the house or something because
Though I did like when Camille to Armiston was like, uh, "Do you swear oath to one man or do you swear an oath to the Siler?"
Mhm.
Hmm? 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 You know,
Mm.
again, I like the game that she's playing
Yeah, she just
because
needs to bring her husband along if she
yes,
doesn't want problems at home.
right,
That's
right.
all it is.
The husband needs to kind of stop being a little whiny and complaining about everything. Like, that's the thing,
Yeah.
because his motivations are still iffy with me because he's still kind of. I feel like
Hurt. It's
if
like butt hurt by Bernard.
right, I feel like if Bernard came like, come here, Robert. I'll hug you. You can be my shadow now. Robert, like, oh,
Like
thank you so much.
that's all I wanted. Why do you have to
And
make
it's
this so hard for me?
right. Even though he tries to warn, like, even when Sis tries to warn Lucas, I feel like he's warning Lucas to be like, I'm coming for you because that's my position, not
Yeah, no,
because he
exactly. It
cares for
doesn't care
him.
about Lucas. It's not even like he cares for the silo. It's just still more like I need you out because I'm wanting to be that shadow. It's like I'm gonna be more curious. I can be more curious.
Right, right. I can be curious. I'm curious about you. What are you doing?
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah. Like, but then it's still funny because you can see like he knows nothing. He's like, oh, pack, whatever. Anyways, it's just like what is your real goal, Sims? It's not like you're gonna figure anything out per se. Just go do your job and sit down somewhere. Truly.
Mhm. But here's the thing there. What are your because even though someone like Bernard kind of praises Salvador Quinn, almost like looks up to him like, I want to be able to do what he did, kind of
Yeah,
thing like that. It almost seems that the code in the book is saying the opposite.
that's what I'm curious. I wasn't sure my feelings on that. If you're reading this, it's too late. Hashtag Drake, right?
Right, right.
Like you already know the game is rigged. Like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, duh, we know the game is rigged. Like, come on, man, tell me more.
You were part of rigging it. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
like
You telling me it's rigged.
that's like,
You were
well,
part of why it's rigged.
but that's my thing with Quinn. It's like the fact that Bernard thinks he's a good guy. I'm like, is he a good guy? I don't know if Bernard is the best vouch
Mhm.
for. Oh no, that guy he saved the silos. Like, yeah, that's almost like you're in a concentration camp, keeping people locked up, and it's like, you saved
Yeah,
us.
like
It's like,
Hitler saved Germany.
it's like, wait, I don't think that's the kind of saving word we're looking for here, right? Like he did he save or did he just imprison?
But then
Wording,
but then why leave this code? Because it's almost like this code is like a warning for someone to help them get outside of this control.
yeah, because it's a little it's iffy. I'm not. The jury's still out because it's very much so. If I was making people forget, why am I leaving the clues to remember?
Unless again, because what we do know about Silo is that
Well,
sometimes the person that looks like they're in power isn't necessarily the person in power.
yeah.
Right? And even though Quinn, we've been told like whoever's the head of IT is usually the person in power. But maybe in Quinn's time, maybe the person in IT wasn't the one in power. Maybe it
It's
was
probably-
the judge in power back then. And maybe Quinn was doing things because they were forced to do things, but then they
Yeah.
were made the face of it all. And it's almost like, have you seen Rogue One?
Yes.
I was watching it the other day with my cousin who'd never seen it before, right? Where you get the guy who's forced to make the Death Star. So because he's forced to, he puts secret backdoor
Those
ways to
and
kind of take it down. So
yeah.
maybe that's what Quinn was doing. Where it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I can't,
That fair
I have
enough.
to do what
I
I'm
could
doing,
see that.
but I'm gonna leave
That's
clues.
actually a good one. I could see that where it's like, fine, we'll make them forget, but one day someone will remember.
Exactly. I will have my
And
revenge.
the revenge, eventually, my
All right,
family
someone
be saved.
creative. right? We'll figure it out and save us all. Again, and we do know that to at least an extent, Judge Meadows figured it out,
Mm-hmm.
but she didn't want to tell what
So
she figured out.
interesting breadcrumbs still. Just
Right?
like she got the book, but then just never came back, never said anything. Just
No.
started drinking.
Mhm. Let's talk about Billings. All right, Billings is going through a crisis of faith of some kind. Right, which is easy to believe because he's realizing that because he's someone who's a very strong believer in the pact, to do the right thing and everything like
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
And Shirley's like, this thing that you hold so dearly to you,
If
I'm
it's
not
wrong,
quite
it's wrong,
sure.
bro. That's what she said. Like, which I love it again. Shirley once again has just skyrocketed as one of my favorite characters, right? With the logic, because she's not a hothead. She could just see her being like. So I like how she came to sit with him when it's almost like the high school movies of like
Mhm,
the kid no one wants to sit with, and
mhm,
the cool kid comes to sit down with you to prove that you're not you don't have cooties and you
mhm.
could be listened to. But then she still got she because what did you even say, like, oh, so you have to know when to sometimes like just start or like walk away essentially,
Yeah,
like I'm doing right now. And
and
she
she's like,
proceeds to leave.
there's a point where you just have to call it what it is, bullshit,
That's
which is what
yeah
the
that
founders.
and literally walked away. Like it's
Yeah.
almost like let me show you what it looks like to call something bullshit. There you go, Billings. But I enjoyed I'm enjoying the Billings arc. Even I feel like it definitely hasn't gotten like too much screen time, but it's been enough. I don't think
Mhm.
it's been short change. Even though I missed Hank this episode, Deputy. It's good on me, but I like what was happening with Billings and his wife. Even his
Mm.
wife, she's a side character, but one who's like still involved enough for me to like her because she found out about the page from well whatever dude's name is. Uh,
Oh,
uh,
damn
him.
it! I feel like it starts with a P. I wrote down Patrick
Patty,
Kennedy.
Patty,
Yeah,
yeah, Patty
Patty
Kennedy.
Kennedy.
And it's like she told me, she's like, just show me the page, and and I like that real moment. I like that she also has the same reaction he does of just like what, like so, like what? This was real, like so.
Well, you've had this drug the whole time. You didn't
Uh,
share.
like like really, and he's like, I did not want to share. It's just yeah, but, his reason made sense too. But like, I also get her standpoint, and I feel like again, so we now have I like what's happening because we just have more and more people getting contact with relics and the ideas of the outside world, right? Sims and their child with the Pez dispenser. Now Paddy has seen a page of the outside. Billings has seen it. Now Billings' wife. It's just like the threads. Look, this is why you never tell a secret, right?
Mhm.
You can't just tell one person because they're gonna tell one person who's gonna tell one person, and it just like keeps trickling down and down.
I even like how Patty mentioned it because I feel like Patty knew what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, your husband has a secret. He's not telling you. I'd be mad if it was me. Essentially, that's what he said. And I did like how it played out between the Billings family because it wasn't this. Because I think other stories, lesser stories, would have dragged that narrative over like 3 episodes of them
Yeah,
bickering as a couple. Like
yeah,
it affects the whole relationship. They're gonna be on the verge of divorce until the last episode where they make things right, right? Like I like that she's upset. It makes sense, but it's not like this overblown thing. By the
no, it's
end
like
of it, they're pretty much good with each other. It's not like
yeah,
she walks out, slams the door. I can't believe you didn't tell me. Blah blah
yeah,
blah, over dramatic style. So I
yeah.
did really appreciate, it. And I find it interesting. When I'm reminded that even though the people of the Asylum know that there was a world before, they know extremely little. Like, there's one thing to be like, "Oh, the world had trees and birds."
Mm,
They don't even know what it
no,
had, let alone
yeah,
seen the picture.
exactly.
They
Like
can't even like they haven't given any clues
fathom nothing
at all.
whatsoever.
Right. For all they know, they could have looked and seen like, purple trees. They didn't even know that it was full of lush green trees. Right. They just it's everything is so foreign to them, which I find again it makes sense when you know about the whole water memory erasing thing, which I
Yeah.
still need to know how it works.
Like after how many weeks, how many months? Like
Like
does
because
it block like your hippocampus? Does it block
all
your
right,
medulla oblongata? That's not a
because I'm
thing
gonna be
in your
like,
brain, but
what's
still.
my name?
Yeah, exactly. Like how do you selectively biochemical compound make people forget specifics of
Mhm.
like Anyways, it could just be general, like, Alzheimer's type amnesia, which eventually just makes history fade out because by the
Mhm.
time the oldies can't tell the youngins about what the old world looks like, they
True.
just forget. They just forget generally. That's kind of how I saw it. So it's not like I can't make you forget, that you went to school at NYIT, but I can make you forget more general things about like, oh, do you remember what was school like? And like, I don't remember actually.
Yeah.
It was a good like maybe it's that kind of just like hazy up to a point memory loss. That was my guess. But like again, like I mentioned with power levels and scaling, I would love to see a chart of like after 30 gallons of this water, you forget 2 years of your life from your 10th birthday.
Let's go back to Lucas because again, Lucas is a character. We're talking about where his alliances lie,
Yep.
and this episode is making curious because even though he tries to be like tough and bully style to the Quinn family, by the end of it, he's actually nice.
Yeah.
Right. He actually tells them about, your ancestor was actually a good person. He gives
Yeah.
them that kind of closure, which helps them,
Hmm. Hmm.
and when they ask about what happened to Meadows, he doesn't quite straight up lie and be like, nah, they killed her.
Okay, it's
He's like,
like
that's what they
that's what
say.
they said. I don't know,
Which is again, which is you're saying, don't believe what you hear, essentially, is what he's
Kind
saying.
of, but I like it because he's technically from their side. Like
Mm,
he wasn't from the the upper echelons. He was from the lower echelons. So like,
yeah.
I think he's still like he still hold or that part of him is still recent, right? He's been shadow for what I don't know, 5 days, 2 days, a week,
Mhm. I
if
mean, barely anyone knows
anything.
about it, right? Like we surmised last week.
Yeah,
People don't really know.
no, not at all. And I did like that moment with the judicial guys. His
Yeah.
little
They're
his
like,
li- his,
who the hell are
his
you?
little his little moment of flex. Right, and they're like, all right, okay,
Fine. But he's
okay,
got
okay.
when the one guy's like, but he's got a blue card. So I can see that.
I can see the color. Thank you. I'm not colorblind. So yeah, it's nice to see that his personality. Like I said, he was trying to be tough at the beginning, and it was very clear. And you could, I like that he just dropped all the cards, right? Because
Yeah.
basically he was able to get information his own way, right?
Mhm. And
Not
he
by
apologizes.
forcing. He did, yeah. And I think that's why they resonated with it. It wasn't just like even if he came in the first time being nice, I don't know if that would have worked either, to be honest. If you just came in like, hi guys, no, I just need some information, they'd be like, nah, piss off, bro. It's very much like they could almost see like, fine, this guy is also going through something clearly, and
Mhm.
he's not, he's not just a mean person, but he's able to kind of apologize for his own missteps or like not being straight up the first time, and that's what led them to be like, okay, fine, here's some info.
What do you nerdies think of this episode? What do you think of the season so far and the show as a whole? Find us on social media at the Nerdy Bunch. And if you have any thoughts, leave us a comment, give us a like, tell your friends to subscribe. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yourself.
Yes,
And
sir.
keep it locked on the Nerdy Bunch for a whole bunch of new podcasts coming in this year. I mentioned to Andrew in a previous podcast that we want to start doing more movies this year. So if
Yes,
there's any
yes.
films you want us to be watching or look forward to or something that's streaming, you can send us a
Let us
message,
know.
email the nerdybunchpodcast at gmail.com.
Yeah.
Andrew, 2 more episodes to go. I'm excited. We'll see where things
So,
go. Thank you, Andrew.
thank you, David.
My name's English Dave, and this has been a Nerdy Bunch weekly review for Silo Season 2. And this week we did Episode 8. And as always, Andrew,
Keep it nerdy.
peace.